A former IRS official, Lois Lerner, has been recalled now by the House Oversight and Government Reform Committee to testify next week on the IRS scandal and their targeting of conservative groups. But if you listen to some of the Democrats in Washington, the woman who had to plead the fifth is not the real source of the problem here. Instead, they're blaming, well, watch.
We have all heard the outrage and the innuendo from my Republican colleagues and their chief mouthpiece, Fox News.
Political theater crafted to make the producers at Fox Television happy.
Silencing your critics is commonplace in authoritarian countries, not in the United States of America.
This is not a political issue. This is not about an R or a D. This is about a we. This is about the entire country. We cannot allow the voice of the people not to be heard in our town squares. And when they need to speak out, they need to know that they can speak out without being threatened, without being worried about what's going to happen to them.
Encouraging free speech. It's what makes us strong as a nation. And yet here comes the IRS trying to shut down, use the heavy hammer of their power to try to shut down political speech of people who disagree with them.
Joining me now, Brent Vizel, who's president of the Media Research Center. So wait, before I ask you, producers, are you feeling happy? I'm a little happy. This is so ridiculous, Brent. Back there they go again. It's all Fox News' fault. It has nothing to do with Lois Lerner, who pleaded the fifth, or anybody else at the IRS that this is even a story.
Megan, just a few minutes ago, I just jotted down from memory things I remember about the scandal. It's by no means the complete story. We now know that there are hundreds of cases where the IRS was persecuting conservative organizations. Documentary evidence, so much so that President Obama himself said that he was outraged. We know that like the Benghazi video story, they tried to blame two agents in Cincinnati, and that wasn't true. We know that there were hundreds of meetings at the White House with IRS officials, but we don't know if they discussed any of this. We know that it goes all the way up at least to an Obama official, a political official who was in charge of oversight, who was getting regular reports on this. We know that the IRS was colluding with the FEC and other government agencies, which is illegal. We know that the IRS was leaking information about conservative groups like the National Council of Marriage to left-wing organizations, which is illegal. We know that Dr. Ben Carson spoke at the National Prayer Breakfast and was critical of Obamacare, and overnight was hit with an IRS audit. We know that on January 23rd, they targeted the Friends of Abe, the Hollywood organization. We know that the person who was put in charge of this investigation turns out to be an Obama donor, a clear conflict of interest. And now Lois Lerner, who is at the center of this, says she will testify if she's given immunity from federal prosecution. And these liberals are saying there isn't a scandal. And then, by the way, while they're attacking Fox News, let me ask you a question, Megan. Where's the rest of the press? Where's anyone covering this? Just to give you a semblance, an understanding of this, since June 26 of last year, the total amount of time ABC News has given to what I just told you, 22 seconds.
Wow. That's unbelievable, Brent. I mean, that is literally unbelievable. Is that documented?
It is documented. When the Friends of Abe was targeted, 0 seconds to that story, but 36 minutes that day to Justin Bieber's arrest.
Oh, good gracious. You know, that's why the president can come out and say to Bill O'Reilly there's not a smidgen of evidence of corruption at the IRS, and gets a complete pass on that from most media outlets, Brent. And when we cover it here at Fox, the reaction from these lawmakers on Capitol Hill is that the Republican mouthpieces, why don't they also want to know why the president said that when he's got an open FBI probe into this matter?
It is why President Obama says there are no scandals, because he knows that he's not going to be called out on this. It is why Harry Reid, as you so correctly reported tonight, was lying when he just dismissed every argument about Obamacare, every story about Obamacare as being a lie. Why do they do this? Because they feel they can. Because nobody but Fox is going to cover this, and then they turn around and they attack Fox.
And not just attack Fox, because now it's crossed over to a different place. I mean, now you've got Harry Reid, as you just reminded the audience, calling the testimonials of regular Americans, calling those regular Americans, including cancer patients, liars, saying they're all liars. And then you heard the folks in that soundbite we ran saying, this is a question about people getting worried about what will happen to them if they speak out against their government, because the government then punches back, and most of the media ignores that.
People are scared to death that if they criticize this president, they will be targeted and they will be ruined by the IRS. Why are they scared to death? Because it's happening right before our very eyes, and there are hundreds of examples of it.
Brent, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Megan.
Up next, the new twist in the story of the couple who found what's being called the greatest